Hey everybody, welcome to Lisa's Art Room. Today we're going to be doing some Essential Stencil rub-on transfers on a 12 by 16 canvas. So I've already got a pre-painted canvas. It just has a base coat of white on it. I'm going to be doing that, and we're going to be using this pretty stencil, or not stencil, transfer. This is the, I can't say it, bicyclette something. It's flowers and bicycles, because I'm not going to try and say the French name. But it's cute, so we're going to try to use this. Thank you for letting me know the sound is good, Dawn. I appreciate that. So we are currently live on Facebook, if you see the little red button at the top left. If not, you're catching a replay either here or over on YouTube. I will go ahead. I think we're good, so I'm going to pull the camera up top so we can go ahead and get started. Hopefully I'm far enough away. I moved my tripod up quite a bit because I've been doing journals, so they're just smaller. Oh, I'm showing the bottom of my frame. There it is. All right, let's see. Is that straight? I can't see the line. Right, I think that's straight. Kind of, sort of. There's a shadow, but I think it's just the writing shadow. It's always hard to tell. All right, let me get you pulled up on my other device for it to see that. Let me do that real quick so I can see chat. Hopefully it will come right up. All right, there we go. Nope, it's, oh wait. Let me give it a second, see if it's, okay. It was showing the bottom of my iPad still, but it's gone, okay. All right, so, isn't that pretty? Such a pretty little rub-on. So this is an Essential Stencil rub-on. There's in the description a link to buy it. Last I checked, it was still for sale, so I assume it is. It's 10% off with my code ARTROOM. And they did have a bundle on the spring thing, and I meant to check all this before I went live, but I forgot. So hopefully that's still there. If not, you can still, purchase it and use the 10%. So, and these things tend to go in and out of stock all the time. It's not unusual. So if it's not in stock, what you do is you hit the little thing that says notify me, and that lets them know people are still interested and they're more likely to bring it back. Sometimes they can't because they can't for whatever reason, but usually they can. So hopefully it's still in stock. Maybe I can look and see. Let's see. So we're going to put this on a canvas. Canvases can be tricky with the rub-ons because, they're flexible and all that. And this is just a regular budget type canvas from Michaels. I buy them in usually, I think they're like a 5-pack for this size. The number you get depends on the size. So they're anywhere from, I think, 3 to 6 or something, maybe even more than that. But this one is a, I want to say, what did I say, 12 by 16? Let me get my ruler. I think that's what it was. Yeah, 12 by 16. So, and that's the same size as this transfer. This transfer is also 12 by 16. So, like I said, I've base coated this. It comes pre-gessoed, but always give it a coat of, you got your journal done. Oh, I'm so happy. You like the painting? Finally got a painting. Have you bought other paintings? I don't even remember. I can't keep track of who's buying what these days. I don't know if that's the first one you've got or not. I know you had wanted the rooster and then Angela got it. All right. So there's some tricks to painting on, or painting. There's some, well, painting too, but there's some tricks to doing either stencils or transfers on a canvas, and that is simply that you have to put something underneath it so that you can have a good support. So a lot of times what I do is I have this stacked up piece of cardboard, and I keep these, they're all labeled with the size. This one is, it's 1, 2, 3 pieces of corrugated, and then it's one piece of a very thin corrugated that's much smoother. I like to have a really smooth top on it, because sometimes the corrugated will have like ridges, like little lines, and those will sometimes show up when you're doing things. So I prefer to just go ahead and put one layer of that on there, and then I just tape it all together. Now this is not 12 by 16. It says it's 12 by 16, but that's because it fits inside a 12 by 16. Okay, so you have to flip it over and see what your dimensions are. They're always different. I don't know why. This dimension, the first one I did, it fit perfectly. This one, it does not. There's a little bit of room. But it doesn't really matter. You can move it around a little bit, so I just keep one anyway. This little piece of tape is simply so that I can get it out of there easy, because if it's snug in here, which sometimes they are, then I can just pull on that and I don't have to fight trying to get it out of there. And I just literally just taped it down with some tape across it. So, and that's just blue tape, and I've had this one for, gosh, probably 2 years, and it's still holding up amazingly. So that's what I typically use. If you don't want to use cardboard, or you don't have cardboard, you can also use wood. Just a normal piece of 3 3/4 inch will work. It's usually a little too deep, but it works okay. It's not ideal because it's not the same depth. Ideally, you want it the same depth. But it will work in a pinch. You just have to kind of move it around wherever you need it to go, just, you know, moving it around. The issue you'll have is the frame edge. The frame edges are always a little bit tricky, because if your stencil goes all the way to the edge, which this one does, most of mine have not gone all the way to the edge, but this one actually does go all the way to the edge there. So we're going to have to figure out how to deal with that frame edge. And what I mean is, underneath these, I don't know that you can tell, but that frame that's on there is actually angled just slightly. Okay, so this edge is all the way to the corner, but in here it starts going down, and they do that so that you don't get a bump there when you're painting and stuff. But when you're rubbing with a transfer, it can't hit well, so that you can get that, you know, that good grip on there. So what I'm going to try on this one is putting something inside there. So I've got a couple of rulers here that I think will be thick enough. You could probably even use like a popsicle stick or something. I think these are too deep, these craft sticks. Yeah, that's too deep. So you need something that's going to be thin enough. This is too long. Maybe I will just use my metal ruler and try that. You want something that's going to take up that space a little bit and give you a little more support right there on that edge. And it's just for when you're doing the edge of the transfer there, you're going to run into this kind of an issue. So we're going to try this, see if just putting that in there will work. If not, I do have some popsicle sticks that are a little bit thicker, maybe. Let me see if they're in my thing here. I meant to grab them out. What do I got? What do I have? Let's see. So this is the craft wood that I use for this. I call it my transfer stick, but it's just a sanded down instead of using this guy. I like it better. I think most of these are too thick. I did have some bigger popsicle sticks in here, so I'm thinking maybe one of these might work. It might be enough to get under that edge. I'll put that out there too. And I would imagine if you had just the right thickness of cardboard or chipboard, that might work too. You know, I'm kind of just thinking outside the box of what I have around me that might help with this issue, because I know it's going to be an issue. But we're going to try it. And then I'm going to put a little bit of crackle on the edges. And I'm going to do it. I'm debating if I'm going to do it before or after. This stops right there. It doesn't come all the way to the edge of my thing without me uncentering it, and I don't want to uncenter it. So I may try to blend that somehow with some crackle. I just don't know if my crackle will go on top of the transfer. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to use some paint or something to try to blend that, because I don't like that harsh line right there because it doesn't go all the way to the edge. So I'll figure out something for that. But other than that, I think it's just straight on. But I think I'm going to try to do the crackle. I'm debating, guys. Let me see where the design ends, right on these little spots. So there's empty space here, here, here. I'm not putting crackle under it, 'cause honestly, I don't know if the transfer would stick well to it, but I want to put it just on the edges. I think I'm going to do it after. I think I'm going to try it after. So we're going to put the stencil on first and see how that goes. Like I said, this just has a base coat of white on it, just straight up titanium white. I am using this multi-surface satin. And then the crackle I'm going to try to use is this Folk Art Crackle Medium. God, I've had this bottle for probably 10 years. It seems to still work, so I honestly don't use crackle a lot. But let's give it a try. So I'm going to start out, I'm just going to put this on. It's a little tricky. I think the best way to do it will be to start at an edge and then pull it out. Maybe. I don't know. I might try to lay it, but we'll see. I haven't done one this big in such a long time. The big ones can be a little more, they're scary because you don't want to mess it up. You got one. You mess it up, that's it. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is, there's a little trick where you can kind of pull out part of it and then slowly pull out the backing. I'm going to see if I can't do that. So I'm going to pull off like this. I'm going to fold this down. Move this for a second because I need the support. I'll fold that down like that. And then I'm going to try to line this up and see if I can't pull it out a little at a time. I just, honestly, I don't know. I haven't tried it. I hope it works. So I'm going to try to line it up where I want it. Just like I said, you get one shot, guys. I'm trying to move it so I can see the top. I think that's fairly centered. I'm going to go there. And there. Let's see if I can get that to stick enough. That's not moving. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully I'm at the right spot on the bottom. I think I am. It's close, but I think it's right. We'll find out in a minute. And then I'm going to try to pull this off a little at a time. Actually, I'll just pull the whole thing off. But hold on to it. Don't let it fall. This is like awkward. I know. All right, so we're going to do that. And then I'm going to turn it this way so I can work with it. And then I'm going to slowly put this down. I hope I am in. Well, I'm not going to slowly put it down. I didn't hold on to it. That's okay. It laid okay. I don't feel any bubbles. So I was going to try to go a little at a time so that there were no bubbles there. I'm just kind of making sure there's no bubbles. I'm not pushing hard because it's not secured yet until I get something firm under it. There's nothing firm under there. I just don't want any bubbles. I don't feel any. I think I'm okay. All right, so there's that. Whew, that's the scary part. It really is. Save this. This is great for putting things on that you don't want to stick to things. Like if you're going to reuse some tape or something, sometimes you can use these for that, or stickers. I'll cut it down, but I will save that. I'm always needing it for something. Stick it somewhere in the meantime. All right, so let's put our cardboard pieces. Well, I'm going to try to work this edge first. I'm going to try this. I think it's thick enough. Let's see if I can make sure it's stuck on there enough. All right, I'm going to try the middle first. So I'm going to put that there just so it's where I want it. And then I'm going to put my little piece of cardboard on top of it. Actually, I'm thinking about taping that, but I don't know. Maybe, I think the cardboard will hold it. I think it'll hold it in place. All right, let's flip it over. I don't know if y'all have watched anybody else do these that come close like this on a canvas. I really don't know. I haven't ran into it myself yet. So I've got my little transfer stick. So I've got where that edge is. I can kind of feel it. So about right here. So I'm going to try to get this part to stick where I've got that popsicle stick. The idea is that you just need something in there firm enough that you can push. Because you sure can't do it on a straight up canvas. And you can't do it where that edge goes down very well. So I'm going to have to move it over. But that's probably enough. I'm going to see if I can just reach my finger in there and slide it over. So I just slid it over here. It's giving me a nice firm support all the way to the bottom of that. So I'm hoping it works good. I'm just feeling because I don't want to hit that bump where it ends. All right, let's slide it the other way. If I can grab a hold of it, I'm going to have to use my tweezers. All right, slide it that way. Get this garage on there. I was going to originally put it on wood, and the piece of wood I had wasn't big enough. So I decided I'd do canvas since I had a bunch of these. Deborah says, well done, thanks. I was scared. I was freaking out just a little bit. All right, I think I got that thing. I'm not sure. Let me do it again. All right, so there's that. I'm going to flip to the other side. Grab my popsicle stick out. Put it down on the bottom. It's just to kind of hold it in there, really. And then we're going to do this bottom piece. Where is that? It's there. Ends right there. Okay. Can't tell if I'm far enough in. Hold on. Let me squish it a little further in. This is really close. Ideally, I would have gone up just a little bit, but I didn't quite get it as high up as I wanted. Okay, I think it's firm enough. Because I'm real close to the edge there. Especially if you're going to frame it or something, do make sure you leave yourself or you're going to lose all these words. I don't plan to frame this. Usually I just throw my canvases on the wall. I rarely frame them. Seems to be working pretty good. I feel like I'm getting good contact. I can only go about to the top. Can I get there? I might can get the top of those letters. It's close. Right, let's see. This, where does it end? It ends right there. But yeah, this corner is definitely the hardest section because it's got that, it's a weird, unless you've done a reverse canvas, you don't know what these look like inside. If you've done a reverse canvas, then you know what I mean. I might have one floating around here somewhere to show you. I'm not sure. Just move that popsicle over a little bit. I've got that, you know, mitered frame edge. Sorry about the noise. Squish that in a little bit further. It popped out. I'm just going to hold it with my fingers. It keeps popping out. This will wear you out. Putting a big one on like this, it is a lot of energy. So, but you don't really have to rush it. If you get too tired, you could take a break. As long as it doesn't move, it'll be fine. It's not going anywhere. So if you do find it's a little too hard on your arms, maybe you don't craft as much as some of us do. Because I tell you what, when I first started stenciling, oh my goodness, I thought my arm was going to die. I was trying to find a frame so I could show you. Here's one. All right, here's a reverse canvas frame. So this is what I mean. Do you see how it has that bump there? Can y'all see that? See? So it's very uneven on the edge and side there. That was pulled from one of those for some project I was doing. All right, I think I got these letters good enough. Trying to see if they look like they're dark or if they have starting to lighten up, because they'll usually lighten up when they start coming off of there. Yeah, I think they're good. Okay, so now I'm just going to pull that out and just use the cardboard. Because I have a little bit of a gap, I'm just going to kind of scooch it just by bumping it. You can kind of bump it and you feel it. Just make sure it's over here. And hopefully it's over far enough to hit this S. I think we're okay. Almost needs something there still. I think I just a little bit too far. Let me just throw this stick back in there. I don't think I want it quite as deep. Let's try that. See if that gives it a little bit more. Okay, what happened? Where'd the stick go? It moved. I'm gonna try. What was the other thing I had? The ruler. Let me try that. It's a little bit bigger. Let's see if I can get this S. It's fighting me because it's right on that spot where it bumps. Here, that's better. So just play with things. If you know, got different objects, you'll figure out something that'll work under there. Just try and get all the ones on the edge there. Sorry if that noise is annoying. It's kind of loud. Because it's canvas, so I think it's a little noisier than on wood. And you'll see the impression of the canvas fabric on here, and I think that looks really cool. Let's see if that, get that ET on there, the et. I never took French. Honestly, the only thing I've studied was Japanese as far as foreign languages. My high school I went to, you know, back in the 80s, was, they didn't make you do a language. Like, a lot of them do, but mine did not. And I had no interest in learning a language other than English. All right, I think I get that. Let's see, how about up here? I feel like I need more up there. I'm gonna flip it this way because it's just easier for me. Try to get this spot. I think that I'm gonna run into the same issue, so I'm gonna stick this back under there. Did it move? Feels like it moved. Hold on. It slides when I take my fingers off of it. Okay, I think I'm good. Better. You weren't required to do one either? Yeah. You know, some people are all about doing that as a prerequisite or whatever. I had no interest, and I had no interest in anything but art. I was all about art, even when I was young. That's all I cared about. Well, that and track. I did enjoy athletics. I did track, but mostly art. I was pretty physical, though. I did swimming for a while, too. I was on the swim team, but... until I almost took my nose off on a diving board one day. And then I was like, nope, that's enough. I got way too close doing a dive. I'm gonna run out of energy before I get this done. And if you find the cardboard isn't firm enough, you could switch to wood when you get toward, you know, the middle where your wood doesn't have to fit perfectly as far as height goes. But just watch your edges or you'll end up with a bump. I feel like I'm probably getting lines on my canvas because I'm pushing so hard. It's not a huge deal, but I'd rather not. All right, little doves. These little doves are so hidden up there, you can barely see them. All right, flip back over now. So I'm right side up for y'all. Whew, I'm gonna work up a sweat. Yeah. It was scary, Bonnie. You know, it was just one of those moments where your life just flashes before you. It's like, oh, whoa, I could have really hurt myself bad. But I just like took the top layer off my nose. All right, I might switch to wood. I wonder if I can get that in there. Let's see if I can pop it over there. It's not terrible. The cardboard seems okay. Let's see how this is feeling. Nope, that N is not on there. Okay. melting. All right, I'm going to switch to cardboard, or not cardboard. I'm going to switch this piece of wood I have here. Just on some of this inside section, just because it's going to give me a lot more support. And if I had a little bit narrower, or I guess it's narrow, 3/4 is a little too deep. 1/2 inch would be ideal for this canvas anyway, but not all canvases are created equal, so some canvases are a lot thicker. They're a lot deeper. But these value ones are only about 1/2 inch. Have you guys done these big ones yet? Have any of you? I'm trying to see. Ooh. Yeah, they do kill my wrist too. I have tendonitis, you know, what they call it. They call it mother's thumb or something. But all through there, oh my gosh. Always, that's why I use this. It's better than that orange thing. But yeah, it does still hurt. I don't know if you have real bad arthritis, I don't know if I would suggest trying to do one of these. Yeah, if you do, take breaks. Just do a little bit, take a break, come back, do some more, because, yeah, you'll be feeling it otherwise. All right, guys, I got to turn on the fan. Melting. It is a workout, right? I'm getting my workout. I already went out and worked in the yard today. I don't need more workouts. I'm trying not to lose track of where I've gone because it's not turning hazy. Sometimes they turn hazy and you can tell, but this one's not. But I'll do it a little bit at a time when I take it off. I really hope the crackle works well on it. I was thinking of it and I was like, you know what? That would look really cool on the edges if I can get it to work. So I'm going to give it a shot. Trying to figure out a better way to hold it. Yeah, my thumb's starting to hurt. We're almost there. We're getting there. Really close now. So did any of you notice if this was still on sale? Did they still have a bunch of these Easter ones? I missed a comment. I'm trying to see what it says. In 1992, my bones were classified as 85 years old and not fixable. Oh my goodness, Bonnie. I'm sorry, hon. That's horrible. That's a long time. I think we're getting there. We're gonna get it on there. I promise. Might take me an hour now. Not quite an hour, but it feels like it. I complain a lot. You didn't notice? Yeah, I don't know either. I meant to look. I can't look right now because I'll have to pull away from the live to do Hopefully they are. When I looked before, they didn't even have like numbers saying, you know, like they were almost out. So I assume they're still there. Yeah, I'll bet. Carpal tunnel. Ugh. For sure. But like I said, there's no reason you couldn't take a break. Like if I was exhausted right now and I wasn't live, I would just walk away. Just walk away, give my hand some time to rest, you know, massage it, throw some arnica gel on there, and come back. Because, you know, don't hurt yourself doing these things. They're fun and all, but, you know, we have to be considerate of our health, especially, you know, as we get up there in the years. Most of you are close to my age. I don't know. Some of you are, I'm sure, older than me, but I'm going to be 62. What happened to the time? I don't even know. Honestly, I don't feel that old, but I am, I guess. Check out that A. Just don't fall off the edge. Alright, I'm trying to see. I can kind of see the marks where I've gone. I think I hit it all, but we're going to start slowly on an edge. So this P does not look stuck. See how, can you see that? Let me see if I can show you. See how, I don't know if it'll show on camera. No, it's not showing very well. Does it show hazy or not? The P is real dark, whereas these are kind of hazy. So I know that P is not stuck yet, but I don't think, I'm not sure the camera can pick it up. So I'm going to try to make sure that's on there. And that M and O. Alright, let's try that. Alright, I am going to, debating which way I want to try it. I think I'll just, ooh, yep, my hand's hurting. You're 63, so you're about my age then. Yeah, I'll be 63. No, I'll be, what am I saying? I'll be 62 in September. I'm making myself older than I am. I'll be 62 in September. So yeah, you're a little bit older than me. All right, let's see if this is sticking. So we're just going to lift it slowly. And I don't have anything under there right now. I don't know if this wood will reach. And if it's not stuck, you got to rub it just a little more. So kind of go slow. I like to just kind of rub my finger under there, and usually you can tell. It'll just kind of lift up. And if you see something dark, stop and lay it back down. Okay. Let's get these little dove heads on there. Yeah, that's good. You can tell if it's really kind of resisting, it's probably not on there good enough. Usually it'll just kind of fall right off. But sometimes you got to give it a little bit of pressure. Let's try this. No, right there. No, I can't. No, I can't get to it. Hold on. Throw that popsicle stick in there. That spot right here. It's right on that curve. Let's see, a leaf is trying to lift. All right, little leaf, get on there. Better? No, better. Sorry, going off camera. I like to work close to my body, so I'm always fine. I try to get off camera. There's some little, like, lines right here. Kind of like texture lines. those on there. Oh, I lost a couple of them, but that's all right. We're going to make that kind of vintagey anyway. Feel a lot of resistance right here. Oh. Leaf. The stick. Yep. Okay. You can pull, but honestly, I always feel like it doesn't work as well when I pull. So I like this method. I've seen different people do different ways, but I don't know. I find I'm less likely to pull something off if I do this. Getting big. So far so good. Nice and clear. Oh, the bee. He did not stick. I can't get that over there. No, it's not hitting. 1 second. Throw the popsicle stick in there. Just get that little end there in there. All right, let's see if that was enough. That did it. Okay. Almost. But L's. Those little fine letters there. There's something there. Oops. I try to get it down. Come in from this angle, I think. All right, there we go. Not too bad. Okie dokie. Whew. Now I'm tired. Okay, so I'm going to embellish this down. Right now it's on the surface, but it's not in the surface. If that makes sense. So if you look at it, let's see if I can try and get the camera lighting to show it. I can't see. I don't know if I can see it because I can't see the screen this close. All right, I'll try. I'm just going to try and do it with my hand under there. Do you see how when you rub it, the canvas starts kind of showing? That's what we want to happen. So I'm going to throw my board back under and just kind of give it a little rub. Just to make sure that everything is in there good. It just helps even out that texture to look like it's part of the canvas and that it's not just stuck on there. And if you look at it from an angle, you'll be able to see. Hold on. You'll be able to see where it's working and where it's not working. Popsicle stick in there so I could rub it. Okay. Anywhere else? Stamps maybe a little bit. And I'm not sure about those. Doves. I'm just looking at it from an angle. Telephone's not in there good. Okay, I think we are good. It's pretty, right? And you could leave it just like that if you wanted. It does look just fine like that. We're going to try and take it a step further. You know, got to take it a step further. I don't know why. Because it's got to be different. So I've got this crackle stuff. Now here's the deal with this crackle particularly. This crackle, when you brush it on thick, it makes these really big, long, almost wood grainy crackles. They're very, very large. But if you sponge it on, the cracks are smaller. So it kind of depends on how you apply it. So we're going to try a little mixture. Let's see what it says. Base coat, we did that. Now we're going to apply this medium. And then we have to dry it. We're going to have to try to use my heat tool or something to dry it. And then we have to put a coat over that, and the coat over it will crack. Basically, this is like a resistance. It's basically something that's laid down that the paint doesn't stick to fully. It does stick, but after it cures. It doesn't stick immediately. All right, so I'm just going to put a little on there. Oh, maybe more, but we'll start with that. And then I'm going to throw my cardboard under here just to give myself a little bit of support. It's not as big of a deal, but I still like to have a little bit of support. And then I'm going to use a combination of, I think, a makeup wedge and one of my brushes. Let's see, we'll try this little white Taklon brush. So I want this to be like it's cracking on the edge. So I'm just going to I'm going to go around the edge. So I want the edges definitely to have some crackle. So I'm going to go around the edge. Now this stuff, you kind of have to just put it once. Don't put it and then, you know, put 3 or 4 coats. And then up here, I'm just going to kind of work some in around the transfer. I'm not going to go over the transfer, hopefully. That's the goal anyway. And then in the places where it's really inside, I think I'm going to try and tone those down a little bit. So I'm just going to take this and just kind of tap them. I really don't know if this will work. It's in my mind, it will work. We'll see. So more on the edges. I want that nice crackle finish on the edge, but not, I just don't want it super big cracks, ideally. It's hard to find a good crackle that does the nice small cracks. I really honestly prefer the smaller cracks, especially when I'm doing something that's just kind of vintagey and I want it to look old. All right, so let's see how I can turn this. Can't quite see the edge there. But I do want to try to get a decent layer on the edges. Not too thick though. I'm not going super thick because I don't want my cracks huge. Ideally, I want them kind of small. And anywhere that I'm really coming in, I'm going to try to kind of just tone down a little bit. Can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm trying not to get too much on my mat. I probably should have put my paper down, which is sitting right here. So this area, I probably am going to come in with some paint, but I am going to put the crackle right up to that edge. I don't know about having it over the top of it. I've never done that, and I'm not sure how well it'll stick. So I'm going to try to avoid that. So I'm trying not to do this even. I want it, you know, layered. Try to switch hands. But just feather that out just a little bit there, a little bit here. Should still crack. It just won't be big cracks. At least that's what I think will happen. Did I get any on the bottom here? I don't think so. Let's do the bottom. So we're really close to our words on the bottom. I really should have moved it up a little bit, but you know, I didn't. Alright, so just a little there. I might put just a little here and there on the inside. I'm just going to throw some paint in here. It's going to be a very subtle pink paint, I think. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to use. I'm trying not to go on top of the transfer, though. Mostly because I just don't know what will happen. A little bit thick right there. I'm looking at it from an angle, so I can see the light. All right, so I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to have to blow it dry. I'm going to put these in water and rinse them out so that the paint doesn't, that medium stuff doesn't get hard on there or nothing. So I'm just washing those out in some water. I'm going to probably just toss that and grab my heat tool. Actually, I don't know if I want to use the heat tool or my blow dryer. I think I can use the heat tool. The heat tool, the medium part isn't really affected as much, I don't think, by drying it faster. Because that's not the part that cracks. That's just the resist. The top part, you do have to be careful drying it, because if you dry it too soon, it stops the cracking process. All right. So I use this Tim Holtz tool. See if I can get this to dry. Time is it? 10? All right. This feels like it's not doing anything. It's so very different than my blow dryer. It's the Tim Holtz Heat It. It gets hot enough to emboss, but you can also use it to dry. You just have to, you know, kind of keep it moving and watch how hot it's getting. I think it's drying. Feels like it. It's a real thick spot right there, I can tell. Has to be thoroughly dried. Normally I would just leave this and walk away and come back in 20-30 minutes. You know, go do something else in the meantime, but since we're live. All right. I can get the top. I can get that one. Trying not to hit my table too much. I don't want it to work. Heat tools are not nice on your self-healing mats, guys. Try to keep them away because they will warp them. And then it won't be nice and, you know, level. Thank you for bearing with me through this drying process. A lot of times when I do these, I have 2 canvases prepared and one already's got it, but since we were putting the transfer, that's not really feasible. Come on. It's still really shiny. You can tell it's wet. Alright, I think I'm going to switch to my blow dryer for a minute. Let that cool down. I don't want it to get too hot. You're not supposed to run those for a super long time. I'm just going to switch. Use my blow dryer. That'll also cool it down. Alright, I'm going to use this cold blast. Alright, so let's give this a shot. So we're going to mix up some paint. I'm going to use some baby pink and I think the vintage white. That should give me this kind of pale pink. I didn't have that particular shade, but I am going to put some paper down because I'm going to make a mess. Okay. I don't need cardboard, I don't think. Alright, so let's mix up a little bit of that color. See what happens. Now, the thing you have to keep in mind when you're doing crackle is once you put the paint down, you can't keep going over it because once the cracking starts, if you go back over it, you basically will remove all of that crack. It'll just flatten it back out. So you have to do a section at a time and you have to keep moving and pretty much be satisfied with what you get because otherwise, you'll just end up messing it up. So let's see what this color looks like. Like I said, I just want it to be real subtle pink. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that's just some vintage white and that, what did I say, baby pink or something? Yeah, baby pink. All right, so we're going to start with our edges. Should I mix more than that? I should mix more than that. I don't want to have to try to match it. So I think I might. I won't need much because it's just a light layer, but I'm going to mix just a little bit more. Oh my goodness, my thumb hurts. Yeah. I'll be putting arnica on. I don't know if y'all use arnica. Arnica is like a natural thing. It's probably more popular now than it used to be. They actually sell it in Target now. You only used to could get it at like Sprouts or something. but I like using it for my muscle aches and bruises and things like that. Okay, so I want this to be kind of rusticy, so I think I'm going to use, I'm looking at the brushes. I don't think I want to use my chip brush, but I don't want to use a really smooth brush either, I don't think. I don't know, maybe. Just find one here that I think will work. Maybe I'll just use this little filbert. I'll try that. I'm going to try this little filbert. A filbert just means it's round on the edge instead of square. Alright, so we're going to start with our corners. I'm going to have to, I don't know if I can do this on camera or not. We're going to try. So I'm just going to go across this. Try to get it not real, I don't know how to say it. I don't want a lot of paintbrush lines showing, so I'm going to try to get it on here smooth really quick. And then that's it. I'm not going to touch that more. As if I do, it's just going to stop the process. So same thing on this edge. And hopefully I put enough down. If I didn't, nothing will happen. And it'll just be pink paint. But hopefully I did. So I'll do that. Corner. I'm trying to figure out where I can set this. I only have so much space. It's a pretty color though. If nothing else, it should look pretty. Even if it doesn't crack all right. Depends if I put enough crackle down. Like I said, this crackle's also really old. So who knows? I assume it's still working. It was working last time I tried to work with it, which has been probably a year now. I feel like it was. Right. Is that all the corners? Yeah. Right, so we're going to try to turn this without making a mess. Bear with me. My balancing act of trying. Alright, good enough. Alright, so now I'm going to kind of just come in from the edges a little bit. And I'm going to try to just kind of, I don't know. I don't want to know my G. So I'm just going to brush it. And I can see the crackle, but I'm just going to brush it in, like, kind of like this is. So I'm just kind of coming in and doing a little bit of breaking it up. You know, not real straight, not real perfect. Just break it up a little. And if it crackles, it should look cool. But I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of crackling yet. We'll see. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's doing something because I just felt a little bit of a waxy kind of resistance right there. Oops, too much. Don't take off the crackle on the edge. I got it on my S, so I'll move it in a second. I'm trying not to get it too much on the words. But I don't want just a straight line there either. Where'd my little wedgie thing go? Oh, I threw it away. That's all right. We'll just use a wipe. Just gonna wipe that off. Just back it up a little bit. Let's see if that works. All right, let's try that. And then I want this spot to be not so obvious that it just stops there. And I may play with it a little more when I'm done. We'll see. just reloading as I need to. I had some in here, right? Get a little bit more on there. Has to be thick enough that it can actually do something, but I don't want it super thick. Where's my, I need another wedge. I'll just grab one. I'm just going to thin that on the edge. I didn't want it quite that strong. A little bit through here where there's some crackle. I'll just thin it. Okay, where else do I have some? I have a little bit there. I feel like I had some up there, but I can't see the angle. Let me see. Oh, there it is. I had to get where I can see the light. I'm just going to thin the edges. I'm just tapping this on the edges so it doesn't just stop abruptly. And then if it doesn't look quite right once it starts drying, I'll play with it some more. Okay. Can't tell if it's doing anything yet. Yeah, it's starting to crack. Alright, I'm starting to see some crackle. Okay, good. There's not really, I don't think I put anything there, but I might put just a little bit of paint there. Just to kind of even it out. I'm just going to dab it in here with my wedge. I'm just going to dab a little bit. It's not going to have any crackle to it, but that's okay. Alright. Looking. Okay, I think we're good. Alright. Let's see what this crackle's doing. Let me wash this brush out. Alright, I'm gonna hold it up. Whoops. It's in the description, whoever asked where you can get the rub-on. In my description box for this live, you'll see the link. It was Kim. When you see me doing rub-ons and stencils, they're going to be Essential Stencil. That's pretty much who I work with, so. Alright, let me show you this crackle. See how it's doing. So I'm trying to give it a little bit of time to crack because, like I said, as soon as you start putting heat to it, it stops. It basically stops the cracking process. So you don't want to put heat to it too quickly because it will stop. But I think we're good. I'm looking at it on the edges. I can't pick it up without drying it really, but it is definitely cracking. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the heat tool to it, or the blow dryer, one or the other. I'll just use the blow dryer. We're going to stop the cracking. here that I'm not thrilled about, so I'm going to grab a wedge real quick. Just throwing some paint on my wedge. It was just kind of bunched up thick where I went over the edge there, and I don't like it. So I'm just going to blend it in and blow it dry. You have to be careful not to touch it, because until it cures, it'll just keep kind of falling off. Once it cures, it doesn't do that. But until it cures, if you touch it too soon, your finger will pull off the paint. I'm going to show you the crackle if I can. All right, let's see, where is my lighting? Can you see it? I think you can see it. The lighting is always hard to, it's hard to find the right spot where it's not just reflecting so much. All right, so let's look at the front. Let's look. Oh my gosh, I need like a step stool. Can you see the crackle? I think you can. I'm trying to see if I can see it in the camera. I can see it in person, but I don't know how well it's showing up for y'all. Anyway, it does have crackle. And then I'm going to blend that just a little bit more. Because right now it's kind of, it's alright, but it needs a little more blending. So we're going to take that paint and I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. I'll probably use that sponge. I'm just going to add some titanium white. And I could do more crackle on the inside too, but I think I'm just going to let it kind of blend in. So let me mix this white and see what we have. Where's my palette knife? I laid it somewhere. There it is. It's right in front of me. All right, this wedge is, it's too sticky. I'm gonna move it. All right, I just want a little bit lighter pink. There, just a shade lighter. Paper towel. Paint all over me, guys. All right, so let's see if I take another wedge. So what I want to do is just kind of do a little bit of a blend into these areas. Because I don't like that harsh line. We want it to just very softly blend in. Now some of this might crackle because it is still going on top of crackle stuff, so some of it might. Am I on camera? But I'm just gonna blend this a little bit. It doesn't take much. You can kind of see what I mean. I don't really care if it gets on some of the letters, but I'm trying to kind of keep them wiped off. You should be able to just wipe right over them with your finger. I don't care if it's faded a little. So that'll just add to the effect. The paint will stick to the transfer. The crackle medium, not so much. but this folk art paint will stick to pretty much anything. So anywhere that looks a little harsh, I'm just gonna put a little bit of paint and blend it so it's softer. Put up here. If you start getting too many air bubbles, just either grab a dry wedge or just keep going over it until they disappear. And if that won't wipe off, you can just wet your finger or use a wipe or something. It'll wipe off because it's just acrylic. And the transfers are basically kind of like plastic, so it will wipe off. Let's try to blend this a little bit better. It's better. And see if you can see the difference. I think you can, but I'm not sure. If you wanted crackle to be subtler, you could even do a lighter pink to start with, but I kind of wanted them to show up decent, so that's why I chose to do the darker, just a little bit darker. I know I messed up that S, I'll come back and get it. I really need just a wipe, a wipe. There, it's smaller. Just clean that off. Clean that off. I'm just cleaning off so that my letters don't disappear. Okay. And then this stamp, I really wanted it to just kind of blend. Because I didn't like that harsh line I was getting there. Blend a little bit better. All right, I think we are pretty good there. I think I like it. A little bit on that tire I don't want. Just looking, debating on what I want to do here. I might try and get that color a little bit more where that stamp is. I think maybe if I add, I'm looking at the color. I think if I add, I feel like not yellow ochre. Oh, that's too dark. Let's see. Maybe that color. I'm not sure about real brown. I'm going to try this coffee latte and a tiny brush and put a little bit of pink in it. I'm just going to throw some coffee latte and some pink. I think that's going to get me a little closer to that shade. Darken it up just a fraction. A little bit darker. What is that color? Maybe some red of some sort. Let's see. I think Pueblo's too red. Red's tricky. I just need a warmer brown, but I don't know if I have anything. I'm going to try just a teeniest drop of red in this. Maybe that did it. trying to make it look like this kind of fades off. That's not too bad. That's engine, red, coffee latte, and that pink mixture I was doing. I'm only doing that just because I just didn't like the way it just stopped. I'm going to blend it with the pink and white. Just real soft like. That's better. No, it just doesn't harshly stop there. Looks more like it's, you know, torn or whatever. I like that better. All right, wash my brush. I'm gonna wedge in some water. Get my hand off. All right, let me look at that. Did I miss any places? I feel like right there maybe. A bit of that white pink mixture. Blend that just a teeny bit better. Yeah. Maybe I should do something in there. And I'm just playing with it until it looks right. You know, sometimes you don't really know when until you just kind of see it, and then you stop. Could I have just left it white? Sure, could have. I'm going to clean up my letters. I don't care if they're faded a little, but I like them showing, so we'll make them show. Get a little more pink. I'm running out of paint. Some in here. Not too much, just a little. I'll show you this up close in a second. Now, after this is totally dried for probably, we'll say 24 hours, then I'll put a varnish on it. I might wait longer than that because it's got the crackle. I might wait as long as 2 days. It just gives it a little more time to cure before I put a varnish on it. You don't want it to still be curing when you put your varnish. I think we're good. I'm just kind of looking at the overall look of it and deciding if I'm okay with it. This is almost white, not quite. Get a teeny bit of pink in there. Get that just over here. Okay. I think that's good. I like it. All right, put that in water. I just put all those wedges in water so that I can wash them later. That way they don't get hard and I can keep using them over and over and over. Cleaning this paint off my fingers with my cloth because it's everywhere. Messy. Okay, so that is what we have. I think I like it. I'm trying to get my stool so I can actually show y'all. Because I can't see. Alright, so we'll try to zoom. There we go. So you can see how the crackle just starts on the outside. It's a little bit bigger on the outside. And then as it comes in, it just kind of blends off into the inside. And that's how I just kind of blended that in. And I could do more if I wanted, but I think it's all right. I wanted it to look, you know, vintagey. Like it's old and it's just cracking, and age is setting in. All right. So I think that's cool. Y'all like it? Do you like the crackle on it? What do y'all think? So that is it for my live. I will be back on Wednesday. I'm doing my field notes junk journals that I'm working on. So if y'all want to watch me do those, that's Wednesdays and Fridays for right now at 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, sorry, I still have so much paint on my finger, I can't get it off. Drives me nuts. All right, and we'll be doing that, but there's our transfer on canvas. Like I said, I'm gonna let this cure for a day or two, and then when I feel like it's cured good and you know all that, then I will put a little bit of satin. I'm trying to find it. Satin Liquitex varnish over the top of it, and that'll just kind of even out the tone of everything, so there's not different sheens going on. Because right now, you know, there's a couple different sheens going on in there, and it'll look better. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you, Bonnie. You have a good night too, and I will see you guys next time. Remember, if you need to purchase anything, use my code ARTROOM, get your 10% off, and have a wonderful day. All right, bye-bye.